Hello, viewers. I'm SB, and welcome back to Duskpunk, where we have set up some community services. We have helped the people, and revolutionary fervor in the city has only grown, leaps and bounds, in fact. The people sure want something else. So let's see what we can manage to bring to them. There was an event. I was trying to click on the event flag here. Is it because it's... Yeah, because it's fully overlapping with the high street clickable area. I'm actually having a really hard time. I think we saw a different title for a second there. Let me try really getting in there. There we go. The Emperor speaks. Hey guys, maybe move this bulb a little bit to the side. The high street is packed with people, stretching back over a mile. At the far end of the street, a wooden dais has been set up, dripping with flags and banners in Sarum's colors, blue and yellow. Behind it is a crowd of bluecoats. How's the crowd feeling out here? You tap one of the crowd on the shoulder. I didn't mean to... Okay. I was expecting more of a sort of a passive temperature taking. Hey, what do you make of all this? Oh, if the tyrant wants to talk, let him. His days are numbered. Well, the war dead agree with you there. Not that I'm speaking on their behalf. Anyway, I didn't say all that. I didn't say all that. But hey, let her believe what she wants. We'll study the stage in more detail. I was just saying, from my observations, I can see that they feel that way. At the front is a microphone. You spot amplifiers poking out of windows at regular intervals. It's hard to see at this distance, but it looks like the wires connecting the microphone to the amplifiers all run through a single bundle near the stage. You suddenly realize the battalion of guards behind the stage are not bluecoats, as you'd assumed, but uniformed soldiers. And suddenly there's an echo of feedback from the amplifiers. The Emperor steps onto the stage and stands before the microphone, a stern priest before a dread altar. People of Dredgeport. His tone is clipped and impatient. I have watched the events of the past week with shock and disgust. An uprising in our ancient city violates every tradition. I am your little father. I channel the wisdom and clarity of our god. Something, streets like barbarians. Well, Dredgeport needs a lesson in discipline. Thus, I have called on the 86th and 122nd Infantry, stationed close to the city, to restore order. The soldiers behind the stage stand to attention. Their boots hit the cobbles like firecrackers. And this lesson in discipline is only the start. I have recalled 3 further divisions from the front. Lieutenant, out of the rank of soldiers steps the leader of the Iron Brigade. The divisions currently marching on Dredgeport are 3 of the most ruthless units in the army. This city is soft. It knows nothing of this war. Resist us, and my fellows and I will mow you down like grass. These units will be here in days. The mob must abandon their foolishness or be stamped out. The crowd begins to mutter. Jeers ring out, echoing down the street. I'm going to start a chant. Everybody loves chanting. You begin chanting, peace, bread, respect for the dead. Hey, that's not bad. Just sort of off the top of my head. Was this something that we were chanting earlier? On a different day, maybe? The crowd take up the chant. With each repetition, it grows louder. The Emperor's face thunders. Boy, they sure do love to use the word thunders in place that I would just never imagine it. Here's the thing about thunder, is it has no visual. You can't see thunder, so faces don't really do it. This will not be tolerated. The soldiers close ranks around the Emperor. Why are you taking orders from this lanky twit? You work your way to the edge of the crowd and slip back into the city. Behind you, the crowd is still roaring. I'm surprised that I don't agree with that. We absolutely helped the dockers. And it's weird that in any case it would fire there. Right? Did we not? I feel like we... Okay, well, I guess, whatever. That's happened now. Still can't get into the estate district. You'd think I would have my ways. So, what is our current meaningful clock? There's Imperial troops coming. And that's real bad, obviously. I mean, we can get into the arsenal for sure. And let's observe the building. Wow, that's a very bad roll. Holy crow, that's a bad roll. The guards change, and so does the light. Come on now, you can show me a 7+ if I throw 2 rolls at this. The guards change. Which are most attentive? Officers disappear around the back. For a cigarette? Or is there a back entrance? I'm going to need some forged papers to get actually into this place. That's interesting. How much are forged papers? Not really all that much. I have some finery. I don't really know if we're going to need it any further. It doesn't seem to be helping me get around the estate district anymore. But at the same time, yeah, I guess I could just do some strike work, and we get paid a little bit, right? Serving the kitchens. Every docker's face lights up as you hand them a bowl. Listen, people love to be able to eat food in life. That's the thing I've learned. All right, we're generating solidarity like crazy. We're making money. We're gaining energy. Night has fallen. I'm going to head over to the sewers and get my forged papers. We have enough energy to rest for the night. Can I use these forged papers now? Like, the arsenal should be, in theory, sort of closed. I mean, I went and bought these forged papers, but now there's a sneak option. Maybe I should just have done this the whole time. Well, you know what? We're gonna prepare, and then we're gonna see if I can hit a 5 in 2 rolls. You pad into the shadows. When the guards change, you know just where to stand to slip the net. You walk quietly towards the armory, sticking to the shadows. You hurry into the armory hall, stacked high with weaponry. You recall the first time you were here, under very different circumstances. Quickly, you load up a cart with weapons, hit the warehouse door, and rush into the city's shadows. Okay. So every time I scout, I have to scout anew. For theoretically, they might change things, right? That makes sense. So that'll help us gather arms. Like, what am I doing right now? We need to sway the high street soldiers. We need to turn the soldiers to access the east side. Okay. So how exactly do I get at? Okay, we just have a new option for this. That, hey, why are you working for this pipsqueak anyway thing that the crowd offhandedly said at the end of that last encounter was meant to suggest to us that it is now possible for us to make the soldiers wonder why they are following that pipsqueak. Well, we need 11 for a clean success. I will take a prep on this. And let us come to them with our revolutionary ideas. They don't seem violent, just resigned. Man, what must that be like? Youch. You can't help losing your temper. No, come on. Try a little harder. There we go. Whose war are you fighting? Whose interests are you protecting? The soldier opposite does a double take. Man, what must it be like to live in a place where something like that could work? Just let me tell you, I've seen people try that shit on American cops. That is not... is not the effect that you get from it. There's a whole ideological capture issue there that's not represented in any way here. So we need another revolutionary idea, or we're going to need some political pamphlets. We could... Well, I was going to say we could have more pamphlets printed, but apparently I would need more revolutionary ideas, which I currently do not have. So let's head back to the Firebrand Club and maybe... do we need some rumors? Okay, we can pick up gossip down here. mean, I used to just like hang out and listen to the people talk at the factory. Maybe mingle with the dockers? They've become a hive of whispers, and we've never seen the mixed or successful actions here. So this seems like a possibility. Again, pretty rough times for pulling anything significantly positive. Let's, wow, okay. I'm catching the beats in a very serious way over here. Alright, let's take a little time to serve in the kitchens. I'm trying to regenerate my my money, and then obviously it would be great if we could. Okay, let's see. We're getting all of our high rolls here. Be great if we could have enough stuff to sleep through the night, and then try mingling with the doctors again. Now I could prepare. We had a slightly better outcome on our first roll of the night, of course. Let's just go for it. Okay, taking note of the word on the street and the general political mood gets us a single rumor. You know what? I'll push. I'm looking for 7 pluses here, right? In theory, this shouldn't be so challenging. Yeah, one more time. Okay. So that's enough rumors to go back here, have a chat with folk. The Emperor's tactics betray his opportunist nature and decaying position. These acts of mass solidarity show the people see their common interests at last. 7 revolutionary ideas. Let's hope that that's what we're seeing. I might want to wait until tomorrow to attempt this, though, so that I can prepare it. So I am actually just going to go back down to the wharf and serve in the kitchens again. Okay, I mean, that's fine. I'll take it. I'm a little worried about my stress levels. But it's a lot easier for us to make money now. Like, I could buy some more solace probably if I had to. Alright, let us prepare and to bring once again a powerful revolutionary idea to the fore. Come on now. 3? You plead and cajole and explain, but the soldiers remain as stiff as wooden figures. Well, we have enough ideas to try one more time, and I just need one more clean roll. There we go. Tension on the high street is at fever pitch. Peace, bread, respect for the dead. That's really still going. Those at the front plead with the soldiers. Old women, disheveled workers, teenagers, and children. In the midst of the throng, you spot Markov amongst a group of collaboratists. He reaches toward the soldiers, cajoling them. Deeper in the crowd, you spot Dolores, shouting at the top of her lungs. Join us! The soldiers stand firm with their rifles lowered, as they have for hours. You push your way to the front. Grieve, try to sway the army. You know them better than anyone. We'll try further down the line. He rushes into the crowd. You turn to the soldiers. They shuffle uncomfortably. These people are your mothers and brothers. They're not your enemies. They want you to join them. Just think for a second about... It always drives me crazy. Like, the people at the bottom of, like, the Imperial hierarchy here, like, the foot soldiers, right? How blinkered do you have to be not to see that the people who are employing you hate you and don't care if you die, and the people you're employed to do violence against are the people who are like you? I mean, is it just self-loathing, or... I've never understood it. Who were you before the Empire conscripted you? You know what? I think I'm going to say this, even though I don't necessarily find it to be a terribly compelling argument, because I think that this works really well for our character. I think she thinks about the life she had before the army all the time, and, you know, wishes that that could have just gone on uninterrupted. Obviously, you know, with our very permanent injuries and stuff, that's pretty compelling. A farmer? A worker? Do you really want to be here? Above the din, you hear a shout. The mob will step back or we will open fire. Well, I'm standing my ground. Perhaps unwisely. I'm challenging them. We'll see. You keep your footing, your eyes fixed on the soldiers ahead of you. You've made your choice. Soldiers, take aim. The front rank raise their rifles grimly. Fire! And not a soldier fires. One lowers his rifle, then turns it on the officer who gave the order. Another grabs the officer and hauls him to the front. He's a lanky man in his early 20s. Private, you'll hang for this. Up against the wall. Oh, boy. You should execute him as tough. And I mean, like, this is the thing they just balked at, right? Like, a kill order that they don't feel strongly on the side of. The fact that he's not willing to kill for the lieutenant does not mean that he is willing to kill the lieutenant. So I'm just going to say, arrest him for treason against the people. The soldiers nod. Get his wrists, take his weapons. The crowd cheers. The soldiers break rank and mingle with the crowd. One comes up to you and claps you on the shoulder. The teenager you made eye contact with. Wardad, I recognized you. Oh, thank you to you and your unit. Things were on a knife edge there. And by things, I mean me. When he gave the order, my hands just wouldn't do it. Suddenly, there's a commotion from the far end of the street. You hear screams. Down the street, you see black uniforms marching. The Iron Brigade unsling their weapons. Like clockwork, 3 of them set up a device in the middle of the road. Black and sleek, like a telescope on stilts. And I shout, "Get down!" to the crowd and throw myself to the floor. An Iron Brigade soldier stands behind the device and takes the handles. A machine gun. In war, a single bullet can be a death sentence. In 1 second, this machine fires 8 bullets. You remember facing one at the front. It halved your unit in 30 seconds. Bullets rattle into the street at impossible speed. And from far away, you hear a familiar voice. I warned you all. Now I will mow you down like grass. 86th Infantry, 122nd. Take cover, fire at will. Well, these fellas sure have turned this into a fighting war. High Street's a battlefield. We gotta do something. We gotta stop this, right? So, if your troops relay enough battlefield information, you'll have a better grasp of how to win. It's interesting. So we can just rely on the solidarity of the crowd and take some kind of success without spending any time. And the cost isn't even really much higher than these pretty difficult checks. I mean, I'm gonna trust in my forces training. These guys are active military. I don't know how much I can even really kick in here. They move in like clockwork, flanking, laying down fire with mathematical precision. So we could just cash in 40 solidarity to win the encounter. Or we can try to save some with the die rolls. And we're seeing 5+ as mixed outcomes. We could lose progress. Our skills don't give us any particular bonus on re-rolling Intuit versus Sneak, right? Preparing is more effective on Sneaks. And the Intuit stuff doesn't affect the rolls at all. I'm just going to try to act here. Let's see if we can figure out what the difference is. Okay, so on a mixed outcome, I take damage. You lead your troops around the battle and try to take the enemy by surprise. You're ambushed in an alleyway, but you make the attackers pay dearly. And hopefully I'm the one who sustains most of the injuries there. The high street is chaos. Guns shriek. bullets pulverize stone. Screams mingle. Shouted orders, dying breaths. Horses and automobiles die side by side, burning. Markov crouches behind a ruined wagon, gesturing wildly to his collaborators. We need to flank them. Did you read the text on street battles I circulated? We've been busy. Markov, why are you still here? This is a battlefield, my dude. You're a writer, not a soldier. Fine. He rounds on his comrades suddenly. But be sure to flank them. Suddenly, there's a boom nearby. Your ears ring. Smoke fills the street. And out of the smoke, a figure emerges. Thugs loom to his left and right. He catches sight of you behind the wagon. This is not a great time to be so stressed. He roars, brandishing his belt like a metal-tipped whip, and points directly at you. That one's mine. She stabbed me in the fucking back. Grieve, you thought I wouldn't notice when all my lads ended up behind bars except you. The smoke begins to clear. Behind Dresden, you see what must be his entire gang. 100 toughs, their boots and belts gleaming murder. Well, that's less than ideal. I'm gonna, you know what, rely on our actual military here to solve this problem for us. We built up a lot of solidarity, and we will rebuild it. But I'm a little terrified of the stress situation that we're getting into. Like, if we get into a bad spot on rolls, things could turn south really fast. Up and down the high street, soldiers and workers shelter in doorways or shoot from windows. For a moment, the smoke clears. You see the Iron Brigade's machine gun with its technicians slumped over it. I have 4 health left. I think, though, I don't think that Grieve thinks of herself as a commander. You know, like, I could, you know, try to, you know, bark orders and get you on the machine gun or whatever, but I think it makes way more sense to Grieve to just go and operate the machine. You duck out of cover. As you do, you see a familiar face. I see it. I'm right behind you. The two of you sprint up the street and dive behind the machine, tugging the body off and swinging it round. Dolores grabs the ammo feed. I've got the magazine. Do it. And so we do. You squeeze the trigger, knuckles white. The machine whines as it spits bullets into the Iron Brigade forces. The lich dealers scatter. Fall back to the palace. The street falls silent. For a second, you take in the pulverized shop fronts. The broken glass littering the cobbles like snowflakes, the bodies slumped over wrecked cars and automobiles. Then the soldiers raise their rifles and their voices. A shout rises over what feels like the whole city. They're all just chanting Dredgeport. Dolores swaggers up to you. Not bad for our first proper battle. It's funny that Dredgeport is a chant that works equally well for both sides of the conflict. Yeah, what next? We've secured the high street. That gives us strategic access to the estate district. That means Parliament and the Imperial Palace are open to us now. She raises her rifle over her head and joins the chorus. Okay, I mean, that's an important one. You remember some number of episodes ago I was saying my worry with games like this, and again, like using Hard Space Shipbreaker as a recent example, is that they sort of like undersell the danger of this kind of turn. Good on this one for not pulling that punch, actually. So hold on a second. How much? Solace is like quite expensive for us, right? No, actually it's not. Actually, it's not that expensive. Parliament's under siege, and then of course there is the palace. Over here we can steal from some emporiums, plunder the shops. Word on the street is some places have been picked cleaner than others. I mean, I would like to get stuff. I would love to be able to like buy food and solace, right? Let's see about this pretty high steal check, because our sneak check, rather, our sneak is real high. I will even prepare for it. Let's, like, really crush it. The lock tumbles under your fingers. You're inside. What's there to claim? Actually, that did almost nothing. All right. Okay, we gained a little bit of wanted level, but that's fine. You wrench a lock open only to find a shopkeeper still inside. But somehow that's going to translate to a full success in any case. You got to be careful with the text that you apply to your partial success results when they can lead to a full, like the finish of a clock or something. You hurry toward the Imperial Palace. The roads are choked with people, chanting, shouting, breaking into song. But as you get closer, the mob gives way to quiet. People catch your gaze and nod, determined. They're all armed, and each wears a red sash or armband. Ma'am, are you all war dead? All of us, sir. We're recruiting like never before, though, after the fiasco on the high street. A lot of Imperial troops defected. Okay, well that's excellent news. Report. The war dead troops are moving to surround the palace, sir. General Dolores Callas is in command. And how do their defenses look? Pretty sturdy. There are at least 100 Imperial Guard armed with rifles, and the Iron Brigade have dug in. I'm going to need to reach Dolores. Enough said, sir. Comrade Grieve, coming through, he roars. The ranks apart ahead of you. The palace square is littered with barricades and barbed wire. Imperial statues have been torn down or draped with the Collaborist flags. You smell smoke. You find Dolores behind a barricade studying a plan of the palace. Grieve, she nods. If we move quickly, we can surround the palace and keep the Emperor trapped inside. We've almost got this bastard, Grieve. Yeah, well, what matters is we get him, not who pulls the trigger. She pulls something out of her breast pocket and holds it up. A gray bullet. I swore Dredge would die by this bullet, and he will. So again, obviously Markov really wants him to face trial. I personally am uncertain which thing is going to lead to a more durable result, but Grieve is 100% in with Dolores, right? Well, I certainly hope so. Time will tell feels like almost argumentative in this situation, which is like would seem to be an odd thing to do here. From behind, there's a commotion in the crowd. Zai pushes through the soldiers, her face stained with soot. Good, looks like I didn't miss the party. And look who I ran into on the way over here. Henry stumbles through the crowd of soldiers. Thought I could be of use. How's it looking? Have you heard from the People's Assembly? Yeah, they just voted on a statement. They've condemned the High Street battle as a massacre. They hold Dredge totally responsible. They're calling for his abdication. Yeah. How are the workers taking it? Because we know exactly how likely that is. Well, they're impatient as hell. Workers across the city are flocking to the palace and parliament. Now that the assembly have taken a political line, they want change now. Oh, good. We can use all the help we can get. Zai nods toward the palace. So, Dredge is in there? Guarded by the Iron Brigade. Her face hardens. And what are we waiting for? Dolores presses a rifle into your hands. And we don't have total encirclement yet. Our troops aren't in place. When we hit the palace, we'll need everything we've got. We can't go off half-cocked. Then let's go. I was just looting. Okay, I tried to back out of that screen and it pulled us immediately into another event. Crowds are swarming through the estate district. The flow of bodies pulls you toward Parliament. In the distance, the towers of Parliament Hall rise up against the city. But close up, you have to push through the crowd to get a good look. A barricade has been set up around the building, manned by terrified bluecoats. Get back! Stay damn well back, all of you! You spot Nazrin in the crowd, pumping the air with her fist. Down with this Parliament! Out with the rot! You see a cell of revolutionaries brandishing pamphlets and shouting their slogans. Down with Dredge, down with Parliament. Not really slogans even, really. You see Markov push through the crowd, crying at the top of his lungs, "For a true democracy! People of Dredgeport, now is the time!" And other figures are working the crowd too. A man is shouting, "Out with the trash, in with the new, up the ossuary." Boy, up the ossuary is not... I was just saying that these don't even seem like slogans. This is weak, and it also kind of sounds like he's saying up your ass. You know what? I'll take this flyer. At the top is an expensive woodcut of the ossuary. Ossuary for Chancellor, for decades, Duchess Vesper Fulwin, better known as the ossuary for her piety and patience, yep, that's why, has guided Dredgeport's society from a distance. But now, as her city calls for justice, the Duchess knows she must heed the call of the people. Her royal blood grants her the pedigree to rule, and her expertise is second to none. Only the ossuary is fit to lead the empire. With her hand on the tiller, Dredgeport will enter a new golden age. I think she's going to find that royal blood thing's not working in her favor as much as she wants. As you glance away, your attention is caught by a sleek black automobile parked on the far side of the square. The ossuaries. You turn back to the crowd and find yourself accosted. Grieve! Exciting, no? He's chaos here. And the masses are on the brink. They need only a push. Okay. Alright, we're going to give them a push. Okay, so looting just opened up the actual options of raid a plasm supplier or loot some cash registers. But it is sleepy time in any case. Which means I need to just like drop by the tavern real quick and buy some food. And then unfortunately we don't really have a great way of dealing with our stress, and that is going to be a high priority on the morrow. Okay, that helps a little bit. Some actual decent sleep. Whew, okay. It is a nightmare out there. And I have a terrible physical addiction that in fact serves almost entirely as a positive at this point in the game. That actually kind of sucks, right? Like for the mechanical depiction of Solace, that at this point stress is mostly acquired from other sources, and the Solace is really helping. I guess, you know what, maybe not. Maybe that's actually just fair. Like, how do people get hooked on these drugs in the first place? Well, it's because the drug is helping them manage, right? Like, we're seeing the drug in one of the periods where it makes sense to use it. Okay, troops are dispersing. We could... One by one, they're slipping away. Is that... These are troops that are not aligned with us? Not sure what securing the east side is going to do either. Down at Parliament Hall, we could attack or just stand around and encourage the mob. Obviously, it feels like attacking's got to be real risky. We're not very good at either of these things, but we can push and stuff here, but I would prefer to have some way of managing my stress first, which is to say I think we're going back to serve in the kitchens. Okay, so what was the cost of a dose was 15, right? That's the wrong button. Here we go. Was 20. In fact, it was 20. Alright, and that's got us covered on food as well. Okay, so do I want to hit it now? We only have one face on each die broken at the moment. These checks are definitely better for us. I mean, we're really good at Endure. Let's just throw some raw indoor checks out here. You have supplies with ease. Such ease that you make a game of it. A few civilians join in. Some sign up afterwards. Turns out gamification, a force for good, objectively. Who could say otherwise? Yeah, I mean, let's get it done, right? Big success on a 5+. Thanks to it being our first roll of the night. Alright. Logistics. We're doing such valuable logistics work. Best of luck to us all. She slings her rifle around her shoulder and checks the chamber. I'll be in the thick of it. It's where I'm most useful. If we don't both make it, she claps you on the shoulder and locks eyes with you. We started in a sewer, and now we're at the Empire's throat. It's been an honor serving with you, Grieve. Let's make this count. Sai checks her devices and nods. Whatever play you decide, we'll back you up. Let's tear this bastard down. Do us the honor, Private? See, this would be a good time to take the thing. Like, I didn't want the attack to just launch immediately after the last roll. I would absolutely have taken the Solace here. Your voice booms around the square, and we announce the attack. As one, the war dead advance into the square. Okay, I am allowed to take it before actually doing stuff. And hey, look at that. I am allowed to bomb. But using the bomb costs a lot of solidarity relative to just like the endure check. That said, it's easier and it might have more outcome, right? You take damage on the failure here, whereas damage on or losing this check only gives you stress. Yeah, I don't know. Like, just charging the gate feels like it must be... Yeah, failure -2 health. It feels like it must be a terribly dangerous way of going, right? Do I want to... No, I think I'm just going to roll this one now. Let's see what happens. We can probably pop the Solace after this if it makes sense. Wow. The war dead rush the plaza, giving you cover, but it takes you too long to plant the bomb. No, let's try that again. Alright, can we not get a 2, please? Your troops rush the plaza and give you cover, but your fingers tremble as you try to plant the bomb. Okay, that's interesting. The people saw us attempt it, and that got us some cover. The odds of us not hitting that were really quite poor over 2 rolls. Okay. Now we're certainly taking the Solace. Apologies for whiffing the cough button there. I have one. I've rigged it up. I just I don't have the reflex built in yet. I'll get there. All right, let's... Oh, right. First of all, let's take Solace. Okay. Inch by inch, you unclench. The jangle of metal and spite inside you eases. Today is a day for terrible clarity. Which means that I think I'm going to go for the Parliament Hall options now while our stress is really low and we're most likely to want to I'll feel better about stressing to reroll. When the mobs see how weak the blue coats are, they'll sweep them aside. The skirmish check's a little bit easier, but it's also a little bit scarier, obviously. This is a really hard check, though. Alright, let's prepare an attack on the blue coats. 7+ for a decent... come on, push. 1 short of the good outcome. You launch yourself at a blue coat. He gets in a few hits before you take him down. The crowd cheers. May need a little bit of doctoring after this. Alright, I'll take it. Hurts. Let me go and serve in the kitchens until we have enough energy to sleep tonight. Alright, feel a little bit better about that. And now we've not actually taken an attempted healing at the field hospital. Let's see what happens. Wow. Come on, look lively. Get those patients sorted and ready to get back in the fray. 3 points of health is really quite significant. I think I'm going to go ahead and just hit this again. Your body's healing, friend. Just give it time. We managed to roll the snake eyes. We get a good result on a 3+, so of course we managed to roll the snake eyes. Boy, I felt like this was such a long time to get things figured out. And it sure is feeling less and less like that. Alright. This is a day for big action. We can do this. Another attack on the blue coats. 10+. Show me... alright, I'll take it. This is like... This feels like Greaves' thing, right? We are taking hits to defend the what do you call it? The movement. Trading on our own suffering. It makes sense to me. I feel like I play a lot of characters where this is kind of the thing. The tension in the crowd is building. Kick out all fat cats, all industrialists. We will take it no longer. I don't have Nosrin's voice at all. But from the other side of the square, you hear another voice. Brothers and sisters, please. This way lies folly. Go back to your homes, to your loved ones. The Father has a plan for all of this. If only we have faith in him. The crowd wavers. No, don't waver. Bluecoats can't hold the crowd back any longer. Okay, so this is gonna get the city watch on me. But it's a sway check, and we've gotten a little bit better at swaying. It's not a very difficult. Oh no, actually, I haven't. How have I? It's just that this is a really easy check. And even so, I shall prepare. Okay, at 11. Storm the building, you cry. You rush forward, but the crowd, cheering and whooping, rush ahead of you. Okay, so there's nothing to build toward here. We were just looking for a single success. The crowd masses against the barricades like floodwaters about to break. Down with the toffs! Up the ossuary! Out with the rot! Stay back! Stag's teeth! Stay back! Then, as if united by some unseen signal, people start to clamber over the barricade and approach the guards. I'm warning you! They fire uselessly into the crowd. The crowd flows over them like water, and they disappear with a scream. The crowd reach the walls of Parliament Hall. They beat on the windows and doors. Yeah, I mean, I think that taking the doors off the hinges is probably a safer way to get people through than leaving a jagged window, right? You hammer at the ancient door hinges. The crowd scratch at the crumbling mortar with knives and fingernails. And one by one, the hinges come loose from the crumbling stone. The great doors fall open. The mob swarm into the Parliament chamber. Politicians cower under their desks. I'm not trying to act like I have it particularly hard living in America. But this did just happen to us. All right. I'm surprised to say that I am feeling a little something here. Like I'm feeling a little real life actual stress. Okay, so the mob swarms into the Parliament chamber. Politicians cower under their desks. I guess make my way to the front. Don't let any of these politicians escape. What was our plan for the individual members of Parliament? Did we have a plan? I mean, at this point, I guess my plan doesn't really matter so much as what the, like, every individual in the mob is. Yeah, it would be it would be very difficult to maintain any kind of discipline in such a situation. I push my way to the podium. Heads turn as I approach. And suddenly a man claps a hand on your shoulder, beaming in surprise. I know that face. And you find Nasrin beside you. Oh, yes, this is Grieve from Wardead. Hi, from the wanted posters. And then the crowd's all shouting, hey, they heard words they recognized. They're shouting Wardead. You're ushered toward the well of the house and pushed toward the podium. Oh, no, I'm not the best. Okay. The crowd cheer. People of Dredgeport, I'm going to seize upon this. We've won a great victory. There you go. There's some solidarity. The crowd cheers. We've stormed Parliament Hall, a den of corruption and backroom deals. And these men are just as responsible as the Emperor for the war that has taken our loved ones. The room goes silent and somber. And that war must be ended. That is why I stormed Parliament today. I'm going to say the people have spoken, the war must end. I worry that this end of this Parliament's support for the war reads too directly as an order to the crowd to kill the members of Parliament. The politicians emerge slowly from under their desks. I would like to present a new bill to the House. He grabs a scrap of paper from his frock coat and scribbles on it rapidly. Point 1, this Parliament shall block all funding of the war. Point 2, it formally withdraws political support for the Emperor's warmongering. Point 3, Sarum shall send a diplomatic mission to seek peace with the enemy. He waves the paper in the air. Does anyone second the motion? Silence? Friends, are you observing your situation? I second the motion. On behalf of the people of Dredgeport, we, the actual humans who do all the things of the city. Well, I'm thankful for the support from the city of Dredgeport. The motion is seconded. All in favor? A flurry of eyes and raised hands pepper the galleries. Well, I'll take that as the motion carried. He slumps down. That's the first law passed on the back of a receipt. I'm not going to stump for the ossuary in this moment. She might have me killed after all this is over. You step away from the podium. The crowd cheers. No more war! Hooray! Yeah, I mean, it does seem like we did something here. Nasrin smoothly steps in to take your place. People of Dredgeport, I am Nasrin from Armaments Union. I love this city. I love its people. But these little pieces of shit, she waves at the politicians, I do not love. We have an important moment here. We have a chance to change our destiny. Let us debate. Let us argue. Let us decide together. How will we now be ruled? You glance toward the gallery. The ossuary glares down at you. I didn't see an opportunity, There's just got swept up. These things happen. She'll buy that, right? I'm going to go down to the wharf and serve in the kitchens because I need a little bit of money in order to have enough energy to make it through the night. Just enough to go and buy some food while maintaining all of our other stuff. And then at this point, attempting to approach the palace, 6+ for clean success. Your troops rush the plaza, firing on the barricades to give you cover. You run with them, then break off, planting the bomb expertly. An enemy barricade lies in ruins. Okay, yes, the bomb almost finishes things by itself. And apparently I still have a bomb? Well, we won't need another one. Let's go ahead and rest, I suppose. Okay, alright. I am wanted. Alright, let's head back and finish the job, and a single discipline, a single endure check should be totally doable. Bullets whip past. A soldier is hit beside you, screaming. You raise your voice, calm but strong. Return fire! Crouched behind a fallen pillar, Dolores surveys the battlefield. Well, we're pushing them back all right. They're spread thin now. We could get inside with a good strong push. She looks you up and down. I want you clear-headed and healthy before we go inside. We gotta be ready for anything, Private. I'm feeling strong. I'm feeling good. Sure, your health is high and your stress is low. Do we need to maybe do a little bit? I mean, how many rerolls and stress gains do I think we're going to face is a tough question. I think we're ready. They really are laying it on thick here with this. You heft your rifle and charge into the square. The palace square is chaos. Blood, fire, and smoke. This way, there's a gap in their defenses. You dash forward, Dolores firing, and slide into cover up against the palace wall. Where are we going? Window, second from the left. Dolores dashes up to you. There's a flash of red, and she clutches her shoulder. Oh, damn. Alright. Give me a boost up. Seems like a strange thing to say to somebody who's just been shot in the shoulder. I'm just going to try to climb through my own. The windows are above head height. You try to jump to the windowsill, but you slip back to the ground. You hear a shout behind you. Wardhead, catch! Something metallic soars through the air. You catch it easily. It's a mess of wires and clockwork, with a vial of plasm at the center. A light is flashing. Oh, it's a bomb. Throw the bomb through the palace window. Dolores, run! The two of you rush along the length of the palace. A deafening explosion behind you. Brick fragments pepper your back. The square is filled with dust. Well, that's our way in. A figure emerges from the dust cloud. Dresden Knox. Man, what are you doing here? A job. What else? He dashes past you with surprising speed and into the palace through the smoking hole. Whatever the dealers are planning, it can't bode well. Another figure emerges from the dust. Come on, what are you waiting for? Where's Henry? Right behind you, move it. Okay, and our little adventuring party dashes inside the smoking cleft in the palace wall. Now we do need to take Dredge. We do need to, the thing is, like, the thing that's going to reduce casualties for the other people fighting to get in here the most is probably taking out the Iron Brigade, right? And at the risk of, like, losing Zai's support once we're done, I know Dolores is going to be like, we got to go get Dredge right now. But Nox is also here to kill him, right? So I'm going to trust a little bit in the violent capabilities of one Dresden Knox, and also kind of keep my thoughts with the people rather than my most immediate revenge goals. Let's take the Iron Brigade by surprise. I'm with you there. No, the Emperor is our target. If he falls, they've nothing else to fight for. She loads a gray metal bullet into her pistol. And he's mine. Okay, but nobody knows we're here. We can surprise them. Dolores takes the palace map from her pocket. He'll be on the top floor. It's the most secure. The main staircases are easily defended. She points to the plan. Look, there's a servant staircase that runs from the basement. My sources say it's been sealed for decades. And you trust these sources with your life? The stakes are worth it. Follow me. Okay, so she just fully overruled me. She leads you through a maze of mirrors and marble to a narrow stair. You tiptoe down. You find yourself in a vaulted basement of massive stones lit by plasm lamps. Storage racks and crates line the walls. I'm already looking at our options here. The smart thing to do, of course, is to sweep the area quickly for enemies. You fix your eyes on the shadows dancing in the flickering light. I'll take the left, you take the right. Side by side, you approach a junction. You dash round the corner, rifle up. Empty. All clear here, she whispers. Yeah, here too. Move on. As you approach the next junction, you hear footsteps ahead. God, this good for nothing. Hey, hush up there. Dolores puts a finger to her lips and creeps forward. Suddenly, there's a flash of light to your left. Who goes there? He raises his rifle. Okay. Well, I'm relatively healthy. It's a very gamey way to think of this, right? Where like ducking into cover myself doesn't seem that important. Maybe I should push Dolores into cover to keep her safe. I don't know that I feel like I'm going to be able to fire back fast enough. So I'm going to rescue Dolores. You wrap your fingers in Dolores' cloak and yank her behind a pillar. You hear a shot. Your leg explodes with pain. Grieve! She pulls you to safety. We can't get through. Oh, these aren't regular soldiers. Look at their uniforms. It's the Iron Brigade. A figure steps forward into the glow of a plasma lantern. The rats are here. Kill the lights. The plasma torches sputter out. Pardon me. Let's see how they fare against the brigade the front couldn't kill. Well, I do still have a bomb. Also, it's interesting that we're able to sort of... Can I back out of this screen? No, okay. I was wondering if this is like unbound from the normal time structure. So... Even in this dark maze, an enemy will give himself away by sound. Failing any option, yeah, is bad news. Bad news, clock. But, like, we're pretty good at a lot of these checks. It's all fives. The endure is a little bit higher, but that's just going to get me back health, I have to assume. Let's try to hack the lighting. This feels like a reasonable action. 5+, I mean, we got there. You find the fuse box and tweak the cables. More often than not, your enemies will now be fighting with glare in their eyes. But a shot rings out, and you gasp. Okay, so one on each clock, plus I took a pain. But one on our clock is worth a lot more than one on their clock. And then we listen. Holy hell, what is going on? You strain to hear the enemy soldiers, but can't pinpoint them. Something whips out of the darkness. Yeah, okay. If there aren't numbers on my dice that are higher than 2, we're going to find ourselves in a little bit of a tricky situation here for sure. Let's attempt an endure. Like, I actually do think I need to bind my wounds now. I can't fucking catch a break. Needed a 7+ for a success, and if I take a stress and re-roll it, we know it's going to come up fail, right? So enemy maneuvers now creeping past us in progress. Pretty annoying stuff. All right, let's attempt the sneak check. They think they're the hunters. Hey, look, we actually got something. You creep through the darkness. Silently, you come upon them. Suddenly, you lunge. Okay, so that's a repeatable success. I'm bummed out that the engineering one was not repeatable. Let's do it again, because this is where the math works for us, right? You creep through the darkness and strangle the breath out of an officer, but not before he sticks a knife in your leg. Ow. The firing stops for a moment. Beside you, Zai hefts her wrench. It shakes in her hands. Did we get them all? Shh. Zai nods and swallows. And we listen. You stand perfectly still. Faintly, you hear the sound of crunching glass. I'm not going to just fire at the sound. We need to know who's crunching the glass before we go firing. You duck behind a rack of bottles. The crunching gets closer. You see a black leather coat approaching. He's here! Where? Her voice echoes down the tunnel, too far to help. The officer grabs you and slams you against a wine rack. He throws you to the floor. You slam into the flagstones. Interestingly, taking stress, not damage. Bottles rain down around you, clattering onto the stone. I try to raise my hands, but the bottles and debris weigh me down, pinning me to the floor. There's a rush of movement and the thud of metal hitting leather. Zai stands over the officer, wrench in hand. For every machinist you've taken. She brings the wrench down on his gas mask over and over. But he catches it in a gloved hand and yanks it away, jabbing it into her stomach. He's doing that with one hand, huh? I'm going to try to wrestle free of his other hand. You lift one arm. A few bottles roll away, clattering. You struggle, but your arms are pinned. Upstarts. Once we put down your riot, we'll cleanse every machinist from this city. He raises his pistol. You hear a roar from further down the tunnel. No! No more! Henry looms out of the darkness and swings at the officer with his lifting arm. He grabs the officer by the throat and pins him against the tunnel wall. Watch out, he's still armed! There's a shot. Henry stumbles back. He falls against the wall. Zai, grab the wrench. Everybody focus on killing this guy until he can't hurt us anymore, and then we'll worry about everything else. Zai crouches down and grabs her wrench. In a single smooth movement, she launches herself forward, bringing it down against the officer's hand. The pistol clatters to the floor. She grabs it, points it at his heart, and fires. The basement is still, except for Henry's gentle wheezing and Dolores' rapid footsteps. Lady's Grace, what? Henry's hurt. She crouches down by Henry. Zai slumps to her knees. Why'd he... Henry, you're going to be okay. Where does it hurt? I'm struggling free, kicking off the last of the wine crap holding me down. I'm a passable medic at this point, right? Zai rushes over and lifts pieces of broken bottle off you. You get clear and rush over to Henry. Blood, black in the darkness, is pooling beneath him. My kid. His mouth freezes. His eyes glaze over. Henry. For a moment, the basement is silent. I think Grieve finds herself saying a prayer in this moment. To the diligent smith, we're sending someone your way who worked hard for his people, to give them dignity, safety, and a place to flourish. Take care of him. So mote it be. We should keep moving. We have a mission to finish. The three of you hurry through the basement, Dolores glancing at a map. I don't know if this is the time for opening crates. Let's hurry to the stairwell. Here, she points to a padlocked door. Zai, give me a hand. We can maybe do this in a way that's not... Well, I mean, we just shot a guy 10 feet from here. Fuck it. Shoot the lock off. You kick the door open and rush forward into a narrow spiral staircase. You take the stairs 2 at a time until you reach a wooden door on the top level. Careful now. You try the handle. Unlocked. You ease the door open, rifle at the ready. Marble and gilt glitter back at you. Zai whistles. Nice digs. The place looks fancy, but it's still a war zone. Use pillars and furniture as cover. Doesn't matter how expensive they look. Several floors below, you hear the sound of the battle. Dolores checks the map and nods down the corridor. You follow Dolores through the plush halls, ducking behind pillars and end tables as you go. You pass paintings of long-dead Imperial family members. Up ahead, you hear muffled screams. Listen closely. This is always a thing, right, of Grieve? She always stops and listens. Punches. The crash of furniture. Slick, sharp sounds. Butchery. You rush past mirrors and wall hangings to the front of the building. Where are we going? The Imperial staterooms, most secure rooms in the palace. If the Emperor is still alive, that's where he'll be. Dolores' hand wanders to her pistol. Suddenly, a gilt double door bursts open ahead of you. You get a glimpse of men with rifles. Fuck it. I'm opening fire. You aim and fire. One goes down, but when they fire back, your elbow snaps back in a mist of blood. That's fine. I don't need limbs. You duck into the lee of a marble pillar. Oh, you lot finally caught up. Dresden, what are you doing here? Actually, this is a silly thing. I know what he's doing here. The lads and me are here for the Emperor. I heard your general here wants to kill him. Damn right. Her knuckles are white around her rifle. Well, I'll do you one better. When I'm finished, he'll be in pieces. Don't count on it's weird. Like, why can't we just say, okay, cool. Good, we're on the same side. Let's get this done. Right? It's very weird to say why, because we know why. We were at the meeting where Dresden was ordered to do this. And don't count on it. Doesn't, like, just... Who gives a shit? Again, my stated position on this is it doesn't matter who kills him as long as he dies. I guess I'll just say don't count. Whatever. I like your spirit, kid, but that won't stop me from killing you. We're going to make this place look like the mob down there stormed the palace and killed him. Like the rebels are just animals. I don't know. Like, killing the Emperor is not necessarily an animal play. They just don't want to live under a tyrant. It doesn't matter what they want. It only matters what they get. We're going to stoke a whole lot of fear and chaos in this city. And my new associate, the ossuary, is going to climb that chaos all the way to the top. Why would you say something so incriminating? The hell you are. So, Grieve, you ever seen an emperor butchered? I mean, no, obviously. I have to say no, right? I have to say 2. I think, like, here's the thing. I think that the narrative of the game, the characters all seem to be making this assumption. So I assume the reason they're doing so is because it seems sensible to the writer, even though I don't think it makes any sense, that if the Emperor dies, especially if he dies violently in the fighting, that's somehow discrediting to the forces who are trying not to be ruled by the Emperor, instead of just like a very obvious outcome of any kind of revolution. It doesn't. I said a bunch of stuff last time about how like any trial would be a kangaroo court. Anyway, there's no way to get a real jury for something like this. But like there's no legitimacy to be found in the kind of trial you have for an emperor. So it's very silly. It's a very silly idea that the emperor being killed in the fighting instead of being executed after a trial is somehow like better for anybody, or better or worse for anybody. But also on top of it, Dolores is like weirdly fixated on being the one who gets to do it. So I think I'm gonna say 2 here, even though it does not make any goddamn sense for us to, in this situation, do anything other than work together to get the job done. Dolores screams, "I don't care, just let me kill him. It's all I've thought about for months." Dresden studies her. "Sorry, miss, I don't trust either of you. You're getting nowhere near him." How does this make sense to Dresden? Like, also Dresden doesn't care who kills him as long as he's dead, right? Dresden was given the order to kill the guy, but if he just says, yeah, I got there and he was dead already, who gives a shit? Is the ossuary going to hang him for that? Like, this is a fake problem that doesn't make any sense on any axis. Fuck the lich dealers, though. You aim and fire. The pillars they're sheltering behind make them difficult to hit, but you hit one in the shoulder. From the room beyond, you hear a cry. "No, please!" I guess I'll move to a better firing position. This is weird because it feels like there's a clock here that's going on that's hidden. You move into the cover of a gilded desk. From this angle, the lich dealer's flanks are exposed. A bullet whips past, grazing your leg. You hear the crash of a door being kicked in and staggering footsteps. And Dolores says, "Cover me," so I cover her. You fire half dozen bullets at the lich dealers. They hunker down, and Dolores vaults over the desk and flattens herself against the wall, firing directly into their flanks. You hear Dresden shouting above the din of battle. "People of Dredgeport, we've got your emperor here. What should we do to him?" Suddenly there's a roar behind you. "Oh, I have had it with these idiots." Zai rushes forward, firing her rifle into Dresden's men. They fall, leaving Dresden alone. Dresden surges towards Zai with uncanny speed and bats her gun out of her hands. He grabs her by the neck. She struggles, flailing her wrench. He catches it and tosses it aside. But in the chaos, you realize he stepped out of cover. And of course I shoot him. Why would you ever do anything other than immediately shoot Dresden Knox? Dresden drops Zai, clutching his arm. Oh, you're tougher than you look. Because I fired a gun? He snatches up a pistol and points it at you. I'm getting out of here alive. Don't try to stop me. I can't believe what a fucking terrible shot that must have been. Shoot him! You fire. He staggers back, clutching his leg. Oh no, he's got the same protagonist armor I do. He has to have each of his limbs disabled one by one. Then we're going to have to knock the cover off of his weak point. I said I'm leaving. Don't make this harder than it has to be. Yeah, no, yep, you're good. All right, get out of here. He retreats, the gun pointed at you until the last moment, until he disappears into the palace. It's super weird that I was allowed to bandage during active combat while I was being shot at, but I'm not allowed to, take a second and bandage myself now. I mean, Zai's probably fine. Dolores didn't even get shot at again, right? Yeah, nothing even happened to Dolores. I'm going to check on Zai, I guess. You rush towards Zai and kneel beside her. Soldier, don't know what I was thinking. Yeah, are you okay, though? You check her for injuries. Other than a few bruises and grazes, she seems sound. I was going to say, it didn't say that he actually did anything to her. All right, you go on. I'll catch up. The Emperor, how are you doing? You hurry toward the bodies of the lich dealers and glance around the hall. Because again, nothing has happened to Dolores. There's no reason to check on her. Every surface gleams. The far wall is a glass door letting out onto the palace balcony. And so, I listen. You hear the sounds of battle below, but very faintly you hear a wheezing, sobbing sound coming from the balcony ahead. You step out onto the palace balcony, and the Emperor hits you with his cane for 1 damage, instantly killing you. Huddled up against the far railing, clutching his knees, is the Emperor. His hands are bound. Dolores stumbles up behind you. Is Zai all right? Yeah, she'll be fine. Just shook up. You step toward the Emperor. Please, help me. Don't harm the little father. You've got to stop. He has got to stop doing that. Please, don't kick Dredgeport right into little father. The light of Sarum's people. Get that religious drivel out of your mouth. See, it's drivel. The thing is, I worry that saying this, the game's going to interpret this as me being irreligious rather than me saying that it's drivel when it comes out of his mouth, because he doesn't mean any of it. I mean, Dolores is going to do Dolores' thing, right? I'm going to say this, and then Dolores is going to shoot him and we'll go home. His eyes quiver with terror. Dolores grabs him by the throat and pins him against the railing. You killed my men. You wanted to kill me, too. For plasm. Get your hands off me. You never loved us. You use us up. So I melted down the metals you gave me, your hollow praise. And I made a bullet. And that bullet's the bullet that... I made a bullet. The bullet that's going to kill you and end this. The gods will never forgive this abomination. She punches him. He slumps back, dazed. She draws her pistol. Again, the trial is nonsense. I won't let you kill him as even if we hadn't made the pact, not allowing Dolores to kill him here has absolutely no benefit and is silly. And the game is going to make some kind of argument for legitimacy, but we've been through that already. It's super weird that I don't have an option that's just don't just walk away. Yeah, I mean, go ahead, do it. He should definitely be dead. The Emperor slumps back against the railing. The crowd below erupts into cheers. It had to be done. All right. Look at the Emperor. Typing into my text prompt at the bottom of the screen. Look, Emperor, go northwest. You look at the Emperor's body. It's slumped like a ragdoll over the railing, blood oozing down his neck. Dolores sighs. All right, we're done here. You head back into the staterooms. Zai groans and stands shakily. What happened? Tyrant's gone. Dead, you mean? What? But Markov... It's done. Zai's shoulders slump. Fine, let's get out of here. You descend the grand staircase. Imperial guards stop when they catch sight of you. Stop right there. The Emperor is dead. It's over. You're lying. Check the balcony. Check out this sick photo I took on my phone. A soldier rushes up to him and whispers in his ear. The guard sighs and throws his weapon to the ground. The others follow suit. That's great, because I have 1 HP left. You head to the ground floor. As you pass through the front gate, the rebel army rushes inside, flooding the palace. All right. I mean, it does feel like a very fitting end, I think. And also fully deserved. I'm going to go back to the field hospital and maybe just take a second. Maybe just get a little bit of rest. Boy, they're very good at medicine at this hospital. Okay, what does wait for the city to adjust mean? Is this just like go to bed? Treasure port has risen. Where will this end? It probably just means, yeah, like end the day. So let's see. What else would I do? I would serve in the kitchens. People love food. Get some groats. And then serve in the kitchen some more. Oh, there are too many people and too much to do. The cook pulls you aside. You inspired us when things looked bleak. You know what? I'm going to push myself and just get paid. Here's how I'm gonna deal with that, actually. Wow, I'm really having a heck of a time of it. It's so easy, too. Like, I wonder what our... Obviously, I'm not charting anything. I wonder what our average roll today has been. It feels like we've been way below expectation. All right. And that gives me enough groats to go buy some more solace, which I might need in the future. And let us sleep. All right, how's the city feeling about things today? What does it mean that the watch are closing in at this point? Like, what is the city watch at this moment? Ah, there's mopping up to do and stuff. All right, I thought very well this might be the last episode. I wonder how much more there is. Let's just let's do some of this stuff here. Let's do one more day and see if it doesn't wrap. Do I want to take that solace? Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Okay, let's catalog the palace. I don't know why this is an engineering check, but it is. There's a lot to sift through, but you find a few treasures. You display your findings to the troops. Their eyes go wide. I'm not like doing there's not like a clock that's being advanced here though. Okay, here we go. Here's how we clock. So we can argue for the People's Assembly. We can build worker councils. If you quietly organize the assembly, the switch in government will be a fait accompli. Well, I'm certainly not arguing on behalf of the ossuary. So let's go for this. This seems like a pretty easy check to hit. You know, if the dice were on my side even a little bit. Can you please? Cannot pay cost. Oh, I ran out of, well. Sway check is certainly a lot harder. The masses demand it, and they only rolled a 4, but it turns out this is at least a thing where a 4 is a real success. because I can't ever roll above about a 5. Formal discussions have ended for the day, but groups still mill around discussing the day's events. What happens when you do this? You just generate solidarity. It's all discussing governance is ever good for. I say that like it's a bad thing. We'll serve in the kitchens a little bit, I guess. Right, like I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for the day. So I know I said we'd do one more day, but obviously we are a single tick away from setting the new government in place, and that should not be the case. The odds of us not managing 5 wedges over all of the rolls there, considering that a real success gives 2 wedges, is just like... It's madness, is what it is. I don't know what's going to happen when the Imperial troops arrive. This seems potentially very bad. Alright, let's prepare and argue for the People's Assembly. All I need is an 8+. Push. Okay, that was an actually difficult roll. Well, more difficult. You argue that workers don't need lying politicians, but representation by fellow workers. There's a lot of discussion on how to keep delegates accountable, but the discussion is progressing. Yeah, the accountability is a big problem. The discussions go on and on. Everyone, please, this is our future. Let us not be distracted. A towering figure looms over her. We heard enough crap out of you. He puts a hand on her shoulder and squeezes, then looks up for a second. And I follow his gaze to the ossuary, I assume? The ossuary, leaning on the railing, nods to him. The room goes suddenly quiet. You turn and see the ossuary descend from the gallery to stand at the speaker's well. If I could have your attention. No, I will not. Dresden pulls her back and clamps a hand over her mouth. That's better. I have something. But the crowd boos her down. Shame! Nazrin! Yeah, everybody leaves Nazrin. I'm going to free Nazrin from Dresden. At least I'm going to try. Dresden has kicked my ass every time I've tried to engage with him before. You storm up to Dresden and try to wrench him away from Nazrin, but he doesn't budge. The hell are you playing at? The crowd moves slowly toward him, hands reaching to help her. They grab his arms, his hands, his iron-strong fingers, and one by one they pry him away from her. This is the mob's doing. Fellow citizens! The crowd drowns her out. Grieve, get back on that podium and tell these people I shit gold. I'm so goddamn close. Should I punch her? I don't know that makes sense to do. I'm just gonna say, you know what? For once in your life, just shut up. Her eyes go wide. What did you just say to me? It feels weird to say she's tricking you all to people who don't seem to be being tricked, as far as I can tell. What is the trick that I am claiming is happening? I would like to do something that isn't so, like, weirdly judgmental of everyone else based on absolutely no information. But I also don't know that it's appropriate. Like, what? Punch her for what? For why? Yeah, we'll just talk. The room falls silent. She has blackmail material on every politician. She's agreed to carve up the city with the gangs. She wants to rule as a dictator. She glares at you with a look that could kill. How was I ever foolish enough to trust a maggot like you? With the patience of a creeping forest, the crowd moves toward the ossuary. She really plotted all that? Okay, posh bitch is not a good... I worry about our crowd. They pin her arms behind her back and bring her to her knees. So, now we know who true enemy is. Oh, you damn vermin. Gag her. Yeah, you know what? I will gag the ossuary, if only because I'm worried that if I don't do this, it's going to end up worse for her. You step forward, grab a torn bit of cloth from the ground, and kneel before the ossuary. You wouldn't dare. I'm not... We're allowed to punch her so much. It just doesn't feel necessary. She shakes her head, but someone wrenches open her mouth. This is treason. You shove the cloth across her open mouth and tie it tight behind her head like a bridle. Finally, we can talk. She spits on the ossuary. This creature, she is vulture. She waits for a moment when city is weak to swoop in and eat all of it in a great feast. She is parasite. These politicians are parasite. But this city was built by all of us, working people. We shovel their shit, we make their cars, we grow food, fix wires, build their homes. And what do we receive? Scraps. She sighs. I'm standing next to her on the podium, right? I don't know that me clapping really makes... Optics-wise, it seems more like a command for others to clap than me just agreeing with her. I'm just going to let her do her thing. I want to give word to Comrade Markov. He and I, we have spoken. His ideas are helpful. Markov steps into the speaker's well. Thank you, Nazrin. We are in a moment of profound change. The question we are faced with is, who will make decisions about our future? Not the Emperor, that is clear. But Amos Dredge is not the only oppressor of this city. There is a class of wealthy parasites who support him. The ossuary wriggles beside you. They force you to work in unsafe conditions. They make vast profits off your labor while you are left with nothing but aches, pains, and shrinking wages. They give you barely enough to survive while they build their palaces. Who here has had to choose between heating their home and buying food? A forest of hands. Who here has watched a loved one succumb to sickness or injury because they couldn't afford a doctor? All of us. Who has had a loved one taken from them by this heinous war? A war fought for profit, paid for in our blood. Yeah, well, me, in fact. I'm counting Dolores. Or not Dolores. Henry. I'm counting Henry. The rich have got fat off our blood like giant ticks in suits, and Parliament is full of such leeches. Okay, you're mixing your metaphors a little. The politicians shuffle at the back of the hall. And this building is a monument to their greed, their control. And this is where they decide which rights to give and which to take away. I'm helping. And we have been debating for days what to do with this Parliament. Some think it is democratic, but Parliament is nothing but a committee where the profiteers decide how to carve up the world, to carve up all of us. The ossuary grunts in frustration beside you. No more of their lies. You already have a democratic system, the People's Assembly. You don't need Parliament at all. You've just seized power from these monsters. Would you hand it right back to them? Again, just kind of let my man work. Yeah, see, the crowd's getting the idea. Parliament must be disbanded. The crowd cheers. Now I propose a vote, not for members of the Parliament, but for the people of the city. That Parliament be disbanded, the People's Assembly be recognized as the true voice of the people. The ossuary wrenches her mouth free of the gag. This is absurd. You're playing at politics. I second this. All in favor? The hand of every worker shoots up. Motion passed. Parliament is no more. The crowd erupts into cheers. For a full minute, the hall rings with applause. The crowd break into song. When you look round to find the ossuary, she's nowhere to be found. Well, how did that happen? You take a deep breath and gaze up at the sky. It's over. The Emperor is overthrown. Parliament has been dealt with. Across the street, you spot a gaggle of workers. Grieve, how goes it? Sort of a weird... Okay. Well, the palace is stormed and Parliament's been dissolved. I mean, you were there, so you know that second part. Then assembly is the true power of the people, no? Excellent work, my friend, excellent work. I bring news as well. The Emperor recalled some soldiers from the front, yes? Well, they are here. How'd they get here so fast? She shrugs. Narrative compression. When you scare an animal, it runs twice as fast. And are they going to be a problem for us? She takes a breath. I do not know, but we have done all we can. Rest, bind your wounds, whatever you need. Tomorrow, we see city's fate. I got a growth point. I'm gonna max out engineering. I'm an artisan now. Woo. And then we waited for the city to adjust. I guess I'll go and serve in the kitchens. We have over 200 solidarity. I don't know what else we could possibly do that would matter. We can go back to the music hall and watch some improvised performances to de-stress. Show makes no sense, but everyone's having fun. We got lots of money to do this with. Does it go any further down? Yeah, okay, we'll go all the way to the bottom. It's just the soloist doesn't usually take us that far. It doesn't seem like... I thought maybe there would be different options at the Bone Horde Club, because, you know, the ossuary seems gone. I'm going to try to rent an apartment now. Let me continue cataloging the palace, just because I'm kind of curious what a positive roll looks like. So, of course, we'll never see one. There we go. Okay, same text, it turns out. The palace must be fully secured, obviously. Very important work. The mopping up is proceeding well. We're arresting officers and turning the rank and file. Look at all of our solidarity. And I guess... let's go to the Arclight. Nope, there's no... I can't just, like, have drinks at the Arclight. Have drinks at the Firebrand Club. Nope. I can solicit donations. Alright, we're going to the... we're working the kitchens one more time. Tomorrow we see the fate of the city, right? Look at what good shape I'm in. Aw. The streets are chaos today, but through the din you hear a voice. Grieve! Today is a critical juncture. Everything has been leading here. Imperial reinforcements arrived last night, but their loyalties remain to be seen. Who's leading the army? A general, something of a mystery to us. And where is this general? The palace. According to my sources, he'll make a speech. Well, lead the way. You follow the crowds to the Imperial Palace. The mob has filled the palace plaza, chanting and jeering. A few bluecoats are trying to maintain order, but it's an impossible task. You realize the Watch are completely overrun. Any interest they had in you will have melted away by now. A figure stands on the palace balcony in military garb. People of Dredgeport, I am General Rolf. His voice booms like a mountain. 2 weeks ago, the Emperor ordered my regiments to the city. He claimed the Imperial line was in peril, that he feared for his life. He gestures to the wreckage, and I see he did not exaggerate. The Emperor, his grandeur, Amos Dredge, is dead. I'm honor-bound to restore order to the city and restore the Imperial line. But what can an army of 10,000 do against a city of 1 million? Well, at least he knows he can't win. The palace is already stormed. He can't turn back time. It is regrettable that Mr. Dredge will not be made to answer for his crimes. Oh, how I would have loved to come back to the city and just spend hours beating the little father. There are questions among the army and the rest of Sarum about whether the attack on this palace was legitimate, whether justice has been served or only a thirst for blood. In this emergency, I stand ready to serve the government of Sarum. The question of which political body stands for that government is complicated. Well, I suspect his soldier's brain would have preferred to avoid questions of statecraft. We've been watching the development of the People's Assembly with some interest. Some regiments have even sent representatives to speak for the men. He frowns. The soldiers have really sent representatives to the Assembly. Nasrin put forward a motion to call on the regiments to send people. Only a few answered, but it says a lot about where the soldiers stand. Now, I would normally defer to the Sarumian Parliament as the recognized governmental body, but Parliament... A man in a suit steps up to the railing. But the Cerumean Parliament recently voted to dissolve itself. Its last act was to recognize the Assembly as the representative body of the Cerumean Empire. From the shadows behind him, another figure emerges. Nasrin is fucking everywhere. How does she get all over the place like that? People of Sarum are now represented by People's Assembly. I am Nasrin of the Armaments Workers Union. On behalf of the People's Assembly, I call on all workplaces, all army regiments, all Cerumean farmers to hold a council for yourself and elect delegates to assembly. This is your country. You and I, we build it together. Long live the Socialist Republic of Sarum. The crowd erupted to cheers. Markov smiles. At last, the people are awake. But this is the formation of a parliament that we're talking about here, right? How is this different? I guess part of the problem here is that we don't know, we the player, do not know what the formation of the previous parliament was, like how they decided who was in charge, if it's like a bloodlines kind of peerage system or what, like, this does not, to my eye, seem all that different from what I would expect a parliament to be. Well, long live the Cerumean Republic, hooray and all that. The crowd cheer and raise their fists. Nasrin looks to you and nods. Also, I have news about war. As we speak, we search through all the old Imperial documents in the War Office. Many secrets, many lies. We discovered the war was won long ago, but the Emperor kept fighting, kept making bodies, kept making plasm. That is pretty fucked. This confirms information in the war memos, printed by collaborators and shown to whole city. The truth is revealed. The war is not necessary. It was never necessary. So we will send ambassadors to Arias. We will end this war. We will bring our children home. A wave of cheers erupts from the crowd, echoing around the square. Yeah, that's Greaves' main thing, right? That deserves a cheer. The sound is so loud you feel it vibrate in your bones. Markov smiles. And then everybody just chants Dredgeport for a while, as they are wont to do. Listen, I know how that goes. It takes absolutely nothing to get a crowd of people where I am from to just chant USA over and over again. The general turns and leaves the balcony. The other figures file out. Slowly, the crowd disperses. You turn to Markov. Markov clasps your hand and shakes it. A glorious day, comrade. We've done it, all of us together. Yep, one growth point. I'm an engineer. As you walk the streets, you hear the news criers shout. First meeting of People's Assembly today. Historic turning point for Sarum. Why would I ask what's going on? You just told me what's going on. Buy a newspaper. You approach a newspaper seller. They beam at you and hand you a paper. Free paper, ma'am, for the hero of the hour. Oh, thank you. That was very nice of you. You read the front page. Assembly meets, first assembly since the Republic founded. Parliament Hall used as temporary venue. Members of the public permitted to watch from gallery. Reading the article, this sounds like a historic moment. Be ashamed to miss it, I suppose. You pocket the paper and head to Parliament Hall. These are some very up-to-date newspapers. The hall is packed with workers, sitting in the speakers well as Nasrin, as ever. The delegate seats are filled by workers of all kinds, from factories, docks, shops, and even a few printers. The gallery at the very back is packed with regular people here to witness. But it feels strange to see so many flat caps, overalls, and aprons sitting where, until recently, members of Parliament sat. I mean, they are members of Parliament. That's literally what's going on. Nasrin bangs a forge hammer on the lectern. Settle down, everyone. Okay, now, first, I want to welcome all delegates from the many workplaces of the city. I also welcome delegates from other cities in the the Republic. You see, even I can hardly believe this change. The delegates chuckle. Your neighbor whispers to you. She's doing well. Good on her. I know her. She's my friend. That's Chappie. Ooh, fancy that. The woman gazes at Nasrin and smiles. This is like a silly thing to say. She'll do just fine. Now, to first task. Food prices far too high. Members such as I take this very serious. So, we put together a food package to tide City through next few days. Hell yeah, food packages, woo! The public break into scattered clapping. Now, on to a more difficult question. Do we need to talk about the logistics of that thing? Or no, okay, we're good. How will Sarum govern itself? How will that vote on factory floor for delegate, among the delegates, you see Ruby hiss something to her. Influence, yes. How will the vote of one worker influence... She checks her notes. National policy. We have many opinions from many delegates, so I step aside for now and invite Delegate Alistair Hicks to speak. For the next hour, the delegates offer their inputs. It feels like I should know what's going on. I was a huge impetus for this change. I do feel like I have a responsibility to participate. You listen to each carefully. Some question how delegates should be selected. Should one delegate stand for 5 workers, 10, 100? Or should each workplace send exactly 2 or 3? Others ask practical questions. If the assembly will number in the thousands, Parliament Hall will not hold all of them. How often should elections be held? Should delegates be paid? Can they be recalled by unhappy voters? Finally, Markov takes to the podium. Delegates, I am more glad than I can say to stand before you, here in the halls of our enemy's power. I'm just applauding at everything today. You clap, a few other delegates applaud. I knew this day was inevitable, for the people of Sarum to rise up and throw off their chains. But I did not dream I would see it. This discussion is vital. We must ensure that the workers' government we build is a true expression of the will of the masses. As to the particulars, let me turn your attention to a text I wrote some years ago, The Nature of the State, that deals with many of them. I urge you all to read this book. I'll hand out as many free copies as necessary. For 10 minutes, he summarizes the key points. Now, this book is 10 years old, written when revolution was a distant light at the end of a dark tunnel. But now that light has burst upon us, and we have concrete decisions to make. I believe my analysis of historical development is still sound. But let us pause for a moment. What is the wider perspective of this discussion? What are we doing here? Why do we have a different speech entry for him for every sentence? Well, it's not every sentence. Some of them are 2 sentences. It's very weird. It leads to a very sort of clipped feeling. I guess maybe it's trying to give an oratory style here as text. Let me study the... Are people listening? Are people sleepy? Most are watching intently, heads resting on their hands. Our planet was formed many eons ago out of a swirl of chaotic matter. Your neighbor whispers. What's he going on about now? Well, he always was a theoretician. Over time, some of that matter formed more complex systems, self-replicating. Life spread, and in each niche it developed into more and more specialized forms. Millions of years ago, a species walked upright. Its hands were free to perform more complex tasks. Its brain developed in tandem. I'm going to look at Markov. That seems like the polite thing to do while he's speaking. His eyes gleam. He has given many speeches to explain or argue or debate, but his beaming smile suggests that this is the speech he's always wanted to make. Now, this species developed language and tools. Each was a step towards complexity, towards understanding and affecting its environment. We formed communities, then civilizations. We studied the stars, developed writing, and began the first fumblings of early science. The delegates lean forward attentively. I think I follow, your neighbor whispers. What is there to not follow? Okay. The developer here is trying to like model their fantasy of the way this would go in a way that's a little bit insulting. Well, you know, matter grew into life, and life grew into sentience, and sentience grew into science. Weren't you paying attention to the narration the last time you played Res HD? She shrugs. At every step, the pattern is the same. A simpler, cruder form of matter or life or society or our understanding develops and is replaced by a deeper form. We try to understand the world and change it. Whether we succeed or fail, we learn. Ignorance blossoms into knowledge. Knowledge becomes outdated. New breakthroughs attain new levels of understanding. This is true of science, of the stars and planets, of human society, which is all to say, look around. Look at where we are. I'm going to look at the audience. The audience has fallen silent, gazing around the chamber. This is a meeting of the People's Assembly of Sarum, but it is also matter, living, sentient, observing itself, developed to an astonishing level. Today, human society took a great step forward. It broke a threshold and achieved a higher form, one more humane and more complex. But what comes next? Further questions, further developments. But we ask those questions from a different footing than any human ever has before. We build this society not for ourselves, but to free our species from the shackles of its past, to unleash, after millennia of struggle, the full potential of humanity. Thank you. Everybody always wants to represent themselves as being at the end of the chain. One after another, the delegates stand and bang their palms on their pews. The room fills with the roar of applause. And then I have none goals. I'm certainly not gaining the Ossuary's trust. Is that resolution? Okay. You're going to make me do one more day. You pay a visit to the Arclight. You find Zai behind the bar, polishing her metal arm. She takes a drink from a glass in front of her, some clear liquid. Ahoy, she murmurs. She sighs. Something to drink? Hey, how are you holding up? Now that we got everything that you wanted, I think. She smiles, then turns her face away. What was this all for? Do you mean the uprising? Are you not clear on why we had the uprising? I feel like I spent a lot of time talking about it. Oh, not just... What the hell have I been doing these past 2 months? I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. She takes another drink. Well, I'd say you've been growing. You helped your people in a huge way. The plasma extractor? She nods. Oh, that did help when things got rough. I suppose maybe I've been doing all right, but it doesn't feel that way. She looks up and stares at you. She swallows. I keep seeing his face. Your dad? I think about him a lot, but no, Henry. Fuck, Grieve, if he hadn't jumped in there. That brigade bastard had me dead to rights. She slams a fist on the bar. Dead to rights. I was so stupid down there. So, I guess, it's awful, I guess, is commiseration, but it's also kind of like I'm not really listening. This is like that image that gets passed around on social media where, I'm not listening, I'm not going to read all that, but, I'm sorry, or we're happy that happened, or whatever. You made it out that something is not engaging with not engaging with the substance of the thing she's saying at all. She's expressing survivor's guilt. You didn't make him take that bullet for you is almost argumentative. These are all bad options, but I think 2 is the least bad. I should have done something. Anything. Fuck. When he shot him, I was right there. I felt his blood on my face. She shudders. I don't know what I could have done. Something different. But I'm here and he's not. And that's messed up. He wouldn't want you to be so torn up about it. So he'd want, what, I just blow it off like it doesn't matter? She sighs deeply. All I can do is honor him. I heard about his kid. I'm going to go meet his partners. That seems right. I don't want to dwell on the past, but I'm not going to just rush on like nothing's happened. I owe him more than that. I keep thinking about Dad. And what would he make of all this, you think? I really don't know. She looks into her drink. I think he'd be happy. He'd like where I've ended up. Maybe not the way I got here, but still. No, your dad would be proud, I think. Dad would have loved all this. Her voice shakes. Just wish he could see it. Still can't believe he's gone. She tosses 2 tumblers on the counter and pulls a bottle from behind the bar. He gave me this when I turned 16. Told me to save it for something special. She tugs the cork and pours. Pissed me off, of course. He got me a present I can't do anything with. But it makes more sense now. She studies the label, turning the bottle. So what shall we drink to? Well, to Henry, it would seem, right? She nods simply. To Henry. The 2 of you raise your glasses. Here's to Henry, a bold man who gave it all, so we could make a better world. To Henry. Henry had whatever the opposite of plot armor was. Or like, the guy who talks like that and occupies the role that he does in the narrative, like almost can't survive a climactic encounter. So, a lot of changes in this city. Yeah, where do you think it's all going? No idea, but it's exciting. A new government. Guess it's like an untested engine. She smiles faintly. You heard anything about the Iron Brigade? Rumors. She scowls. Officially, the unit's been disbanded. Unofficially, they're still in contact with each other, plan to link up as a vigilante regiment when things have died down. You know, it's a win for us, sure, but I don't think we've seen the last of them. And how are the captured machinists doing? The ones building the Empire's war engines? Well, with the war over, they're not needed. They were released earlier today. She spreads her arms. Half a dozen are here, in fact, but most are with their families. And how are you holding up? I'm still having trouble sleeping. War's in my bones, it turns out. She nods and squeezes your hand. Her fingers are warm. I get it, soldier. Wish I could do something. She gazes into her glass, then slaps it down and pours herself another. To the fallen. We already toasted to Henry, so I feel like... Yeah, to all the victims of this war, feels like the least... It feels like the most in agreement with the things she said. She locks eyes with you and nods. To all of them. You clink glasses and drink. She slaps her hand on the bar. Well, soldier, I'd best get back to it. Bar won't tend itself, but you're welcome any time. Yeah, see you, Zai. You rise and head toward the door. On the threshold, you look back. The arc light is a babble of voices, clinking glasses, and raucous laughter. Zai smiles and joins a group of machinists. They clap her on the shoulder. For a moment, she looks back at you and nods. We're going to have one of these with, like, every major character. You go to the factory. The machines are stopped. Inside, the workers are silent. Thousands of them crammed into the hall. Every worker stands with their cap in their hand, looking toward the back wall. The wall is covered by a tarpaulin. In front of it, you see a plain coffin on a wooden stand. Nasrin and Ruby stand beside it. Ruby waves sadly. Grieve, come here. He would want you by his side. Yeah, I think he would, probably. You take a dozen slow steps toward the coffin. And I don't need to look inside the coffin. You glance out at the crowd and see a flash of metal. Zai nods to you. You peer inside and see Henry's body. His face is still, restful for once. We are here today to remember Henry Okoye. He was loved by all of you, but most especially by me and Nasrin here. She clutches Nasrin's hand. He was a kind man. He cared greatly for the people around him. Above all, he cared for his family. But he understood that to protect something, you can't just hide it away and hope a storm never comes. You've got to carve out a place for it. Sniffling, she wipes her face with her palm. But if not for him, this factory wouldn't be worker-owned now. We'd never have kicked out the industrialists. Nasrin wouldn't be working with the People's Assembly to merge all the city's factories and build something so much better. He's gone, but his dream's alive and kicking. Grieve, would you like to say some words? You know, I feel like she nailed it. Ruby's on top of it. You know, Henry taught me what worker struggle looks like. It's not bombs and guns and guerrilla combat. It's one person saying no and convincing others, persuading their brothers and sisters that they can win if they only try. Until finally, after patient work, thousands of voices say no at once and win. And I'll leave it there. Well said. And now we will show you our own work. We and a few of the hands have made something in Henry's memory. She pats the tarpaulin covering the entire back wall. And if you'll bear with us, just hold this. She takes a length of rope linked to the tarpaulin and spools it out, handing one part to Nasrin, another part to you, and more pieces to other factory workers. Okay, on the count of 3, pull. 1, 2, 3. You tug on the rope. The tarpaulin falls. A huge mural spreads across the entire back wall in a rich dark blue. For a moment, you think of crushed lapis lazuli and ancient tombs. The image of a great blue bird spreads its wings from floor to ceiling. Smaller birds take flight to the left and right, like leaves blown from an autumn tree. What's the deal with this big bird? You stare at the massive bird in the center. It must be 20 feet high. Stylized shapes crisscross the image. 2 circles sweep above its eyes. Goggles? Maybe a series of jagged shapes at its hip, and across one wing suggest tools or gear. And looking closer, you notice 2 handprints over the bird's heart. One large, the other delicate. You glance over at Ruby and Nasrin. Now that Henry's body is going away, we wanted to memorialize all his little birds. They must not be lost. And we realized he's one of them too. Our beloved Swallow. She takes a shaky breath and places a hand on the mural. My Azizam, he died for something that he believed in. I believe in it also, with all my heart. That does not make losing him easier. But he tried to make a world that was better than the world he was born into. Okay, the dialogue's moving fast, and there's, frankly, too goddamn much of it. Okay, he made that world. Little one can have a better life than he. His life is an example. She fights back tears. I'm expecting. She'll never know her father. My love, she will know him. Through words only, but she will know him. Henry left us and his kid far too soon, but we'll look after her, Nasrin and me. One of the workers steps out of the crowd. Begging your pardon, ma'am, but we've talked about it at the union. Henry was one of us. That babe, we consider her our ward. All of us. Not one of us will let her starve or come to harm. Nasrin and Ruby share a look. Ruby nods. Nasrin wipes away tears and clears her throat. Then we put to vote. Is our child also a ward of the factory? You feel the breeze of 1,000 hands. Then it is settled. This child shall have the most parents ever known. Yeah, I'm not trying to be, like... The quality of the writing is not high enough to justify the amount of the writing. I guess is all I'm saying. It's just really a lot, especially these last couple of days of the plot. And I guess they're giving you the chance to wrap up things that you need to wrap up if you should need to wrap up things. But I don't really. God, come on. De-stressing. Alright. What? Wandering the crucible, you find yourself drawn to the chapel of the smith. At the far end, a soldier is kneeling. You sit at a pew and offer a prayer to the smith. You ask that he watch over you and the city and help you build something better. The soldier rises. Grieve? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I was just finished. It's foolish, but sometimes you've got to send something out there. She smiles and comes toward you with open arms. Yeah, I would hug her. Why would I not hug her? Why would I choose to be shitty to her in this moment? I guess if you were like, if somehow it was the case that you really thought the Emperor should survive, but she managed to kill him anyway, maybe? I wanted to thank you for keeping your promise. Well, I hope it brings you some peace. I think it might. She takes a shuddering breath. As long as that man lived, there was something deeply wrong with the world. She pauses. Torchlight flickers over the walls. So, she sighs. This damn war. Yeah, the war dad stopped it. I can't believe it. And last month we were skulking in sewers, and now this. It was a long road, but we stopped the slaughter. But I still don't. I thought this would fix everything, but it's like I'm in two places at once. I'm here, but I'm back at the front. I live my life walking and shopping and cooking, and out of the corner of my eye, I'm watching my friends die in some other world. Yeah, I'm really sorry, Dolores. That sounds terrible. Thank you. Things are hard, but I'm glad I've got you in my corner. She claps you on the shoulder, smiling sadly. And you've already built a community. I mean, that's a good start. Well, I have people around me. You're right. She smiles. Private Grieve, I'm glad to have met you. Cool. I'm glad to have met you. The docks are a riot of song and merriment. And I will watch as the crowds go by. I'm not much for, the press of the crowd. Children sit on the wharfs and toss bullets at floating crates, trying to hit them. You pass gaggles of tipsy workers tossing red armbands in the air. One looks up in surprise. Grieve, here to join the celebrations? He leans forward, a bit tipsy, and whispers. Although, I don't know if you saw, I noticed a grouch in our midst. He nods across the street. Leaning against a shadowy doorway is Brother Redcheck. The two of you make eye contact, and then he looks away. Well, we should say hello. Markov nods. I don't like the man, but he's souring the evening. The two of you head toward the doorway. Grieve, Markov, heroes of the hour. Markov nods. How are you, Redcheck? My soul's in turmoil, and my city's far worse. But other than that, he growls, I'm grand. Sadly, he shakes his head. Celebrating the death of our spiritual leader. The world's about to slide into a new age, mark my words. He stares at you and Markov, his eyes gleaming. An age of monsters. Well, I think these dockers would disagree. He sighs and forces a smile. Of course. I'm sorry, I'm just out of sorts. Actually, me and a few of the old dockers are getting together tonight. We're celebrating the freedom of the docks and remembering the dead. He nods to you both. And we'd all be honored if you came. Settle our differences like. Huh. That's pretty weird, it feels like. You seem so against celebrating these changes. The last week has been full of woe, but there's been great victories too. Being a priest means straddling all types of worlds, finding the path that balances the good and the bad. Well, okay, in that case, we'd be glad to. He smiles and pats your arm. That's grand. That's grand. Hear that, lads? The crowd of dockers nods, their songs interrupted for a moment. Wonderful. Come to All God's Church in the Old Town in about an hour. He grabs your hand, then Markov, shaking furiously. Grand. Bloody grand. I'm a little worried that it's like an ambush or something. As the priest disappears, Markov raises his eyebrows. A surprising turnaround. Does he genuinely hope to put your disagreements to rest, do you think? Well, let's give him the benefit of the doubt for now. You know the man better than I. Well, since you've volunteered us for this, let's make the most of it. At the very least, it'll be a chance to celebrate further with the people of the docks. You spend the next hour in song, drinking and dancing, until the time for Redcheck's gathering approaches. In the distance, you hear the city celebrating, but the ruins of the old town are quiet. The blackened church looms against the sky like a knife wound. This the place? Seems deserted. Across the blackened ground, you hear the clanking of a staff. Well, Foundling, I'm glad you could join us. And you brought your firebrand friend, too. I'm so glad. Yeah, I think he's selling us out to Dresden Knox, is what's happening here. Like, to a certain extent, I kind of feel like if that's the kind of guy he is, if that's the place he's ended up, it's good for us to know that for sure, at least. Hey, where is everyone? Red check? Oh, it's just us and one more guest. Join us, he calls over his shoulder. A shadow looms out of the ruins. Markov gasps. Oh, with pleasure. What's Dresden doing here? You and your collaborist heathens have taken things too far, Grieve. You've broken the soul of Sarum, the heart of our faith, to seize worldly power for your own selfish ends. Oh, Stag's teeth. There's no reason in with... Well, I can't kill. I've not got the knack. But Dresden can. Gods, we sorely underestimated this creature. No, I overestimated him, if anything. So Dresden is your executioner. Then you've damned yourself, brother. Most likely. His voice shakes. But it's a small price to pay to strike down the Father's enemies. Dresden draws a pistol from his belt. So, we're agreed. You'll stay clear of the docks for a year. 365 days, he hisses. And not one day more. Brother, you're going to abandon your people. It was a great sacrifice, aye, but worth it. Dresden grins. And thank you for your sacrifice, brother. Dresden rounds on the priest and fires, because of course he does. Red check falls. Markov flinches. Red check, you've been a stain on my boot for years. In a few months, we'll both know you'll get some mad idea in your head about saving the docks all over again. I swear... Dresden kicks Red check in the head. There's a crack. His staff clatters to the ground between you and Dresden. By the gods. I don't have anything to add. Dresden kicks again. The metal of his boot carves into Red check's face. Another kick. The sound is wet. And the priest lies still. Okay, it's what he deserved is very harsh. But you're a monster is just like a really stupid thing to say. Like, we all know who Dresden Knox is, including Dresden Knox himself. I don't understand what is gained by saying this out loud, but this is really shitty. Dresden shrugs. He was in my way. He wasn't. You suspected that he might be in your way at some point in the future. He turns the gun on Markov. Dredgeport's in chaos thanks to you two. When I take out the Collaborist leader, the city will be wide open for expansion. Markov's eyes dodge left and right, looking for an opening. A chance to run. Dresden smirks. Where's the fallen staff? You glance at the staff. It lies on the ground, maybe 20 feet away. Dresden sees your glance and fires a bullet at the ground between you and the staff. And then I lunge for it anyway. I'm healthy, I could take a bullet. Dresden fires. Markov drops to the ground. You leap forward and grab the staff. Dresden fires at you, but the bullet goes wild. And then I crack him one. You jab the staff into his stomach. He doubles over. You take the staff by the end and put all your might into a great swing. The staff connects with his skull, and his head snaps sideways. He puts out a hand to steady himself, but it goes limp. Slowly, like a falling tower, he crashes to the ground. You go up to Dresden's body. He's finally still, his face carved with anger. Beside him, Redcheck is a contorted, bloody mess. A few paces away, Markov lies still, small and broken. Well, I'm going to close Markov's eyes. I guess that feels respectful. You straighten out his legs and cradle his head. In one smooth motion, you pass your hand over his eyes, leaving them closed. And I'm going to give Redcheck his last rites. As best I, Slowly, you unsling the silver bowl from around the priest's arm and take the dark red flask. You tug out the stopper and dribble a little into the bowl, then take his hand. I don't know if I believe that every person should have some dignity in death, and I definitely think this is, belied by some of my actions earlier. But this is how his journey should end anyway. O Lady of Compassion, witness your servant's passing. Witness the suffering, the bitter sap flowing in your tree of life. You stumble, unsure of the words. The last thing that passes his lips will be your heavenly tears. You tip the water into what remains of his mouth, a bloodied ruin. So I want to talk for a second here about this what's happening here. So obviously this sucks. And I don't mean this sucks in oh god, in the way that Henry's death sucks. I mean this sucks in the way that it is of low quality. This just isn't. This is so out of character for Red Check, especially to work directly with Nox to do it. I can't remember who it was that said it, but I remember hearing in a video essay someone describe the frustration with characterfully inconsistent writing being that when a character is established and then behaves in a way that is so far outside of themselves, or in a way that just doesn't make sense for the world in general or whatever, the problem is that it draws your attention to how their actions are the decisions of a writer trying to create a conflict rather than what those decisions reveal or express about the character. And I guess to some extent you could say how do you know the difference ever, right? But this doesn't comport with his earlier behavior. So I'm sort of when I say this is how his journey should end, this is the compassion he's earned, I'm sort of just referring to the Red Check that we had in the game up until tonight, because this other new guy is, first of all, definitely not worthy of his last rites, and secondly, just kind of a different person. What you do with him, lady, is your business. I'm not in charge. So mote it be. I've heard people say that. It seems important. You rise. You walk away from the ruined church. Soon, Red Check's body is only a lump of clothing in the distance, and we don't care about anybody else's body, apparently. When you look back one last time, you see a scavenger slide down a heap of rubble and turn the body over. Well, I finally killed Dresden Knox. I've been trying for some time. It finally happened. Am I allowed to just go to sleep? Feels like we're done, right? We're done with stuff. You wander Dredgeport's streets as you have so often in the last few weeks. But now, somehow you have nowhere to go. Time is no longer the enemy. You stop and let the sounds of the city flow around you. People pass by, some look at you strangely, but only for a second. For the first time in weeks, you can stop. I do not think this is an and then I disappeared into the wilderness kind of character or ending. We built this place up now, and now we want to help it thrive. You walk to the riverbank, legs taking you further and further south. Your legs carry you on and on, without you even thinking about it. You come to a gentle rise. This paragraph needs this paragraph not to have existed. Finally, you turn and see the city spread out before you. To the west, you see the bulk of the plasm yards still belching smoke. To the east, you can make out the wharfs further downriver beside the warehouses. Beyond them, the crumbling towers of Old Town, and further east, the sleek mansions of the east side. So much has happened in the last month. Small victories, disasters, a city on the edge with you teetering on the brink. And you've barely had time to catch your breath. Why would you de-stress me now? What benefit could this possibly have? Your thoughts turn to what you've accomplished in the last few weeks. You wonder, what are you proudest of? Oh, I don't know, wasting time with a lot of extra dialogue and questions. I mean, stopping the war is almost certainly the thing for Grieve. It would not be my answer. The worst massacre of your time, a nightmarish stain on the soul of every soldier. and you stopped it. You sit, warm sun brushing your face. The creatures around you have no idea of what occurred in the city. They never will. You let their calls and the rustle of their movements wash over you. You'll return to your obligations in a moment. But not yet. That's a very sudden... Like, do a fade at least. Okay, so I think this is probably going to be a pretty brief credit sequence. So yeah, that was a learning not to forget the past in order to foresee the future is our most important task. You know, Trotsky. So, I mean, it was pretty clear what that game's political bent was from pretty much the first moment. And I really do appreciate a lot of things about it. I mostly liked that a fair amount. I think it suffers a little bit from how much it's trying to, like, make the argument the right way. You know, there's a lot of stuff here that suffers from the structure of, like, the developers clearly got a feeling about the exact way such a revolution needs to go and exactly what must be done with the opposing leadership and all these things. And so they had to build in a lot of extra dialogue scaffolding, I guess I would say, to like really make sure that you have the option of doing these things right, but also doing these things wrong, because these are the pivotal things. I don't know. And I do think that the quality of the writing dipped a little bit as the game went on. It definitely felt like at the end, if a lot of that stuff felt like it really could have used a tightening pass, just like fewer words, a lot fewer words in general. But yeah, that's Duskpunk. I'm gonna go ahead and hit this button. That's Duskpunk. I appreciated some things about it. It definitely ends too slowly, or maybe too many times. It spends too much time in the ending action, and it's really unfortunate, because that being the last thing you experience about the game, it definitely has sort of an outsized weight in how it colors your memory of the game. Oh well. In any case, that's going to be it for us for today for Duskpunk. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm happy to see a game about the revolution that does not, I think, so much underestimate the costs of the revolution, even as it does perhaps dramatically underestimate the difficulty of even getting to that point. For another game that's pretty clear-eyed about its revolution, everybody, check out this little-known indie title called Disco Elysium. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's pretty okay. In any case, when you come back next time, we're going to have something new in this slot. I already know just the thing. There's been a lot of stuff going on, and I've let some series fall by the wayside, so we're going to recover some of those. So come back next time for that, and we'll see you then.